So that fight took a little while in our terms, but how long do you think that fight actually took in world terms?
A minute?
Not that long.
That's that.
Wow, a minute.
So Lee is going to wander over to Carl, and is he still conscious? Has
To Kellyan? He is very not.
He's knocked the fuck out.
He is very unconscious.
Oh shit.
well, Lee kind of looks towards our spectators. I think we won.
Thane kind of has this gobsmacked look on her face.
KO.
Yeah, I'd say. Vorn is immediately rushing over, pulling a vial out of his robes. Oh, jeez, Louise, you almost killed him. He pours it down Kellyan's throat, and
She threw him at me.
I whisper, "We are sorry for the bird. It's beyond our control."
Me.
Yeah, she literally has a mind of her own.
You egged me on.
All right, so Vorn
It's your foul.
So yeah, Vorn pours a potion and uses the Phoenix down on Kellyan, and a second later he opens his eyes. Oh, my everything.
You're a good fighter there, Kellyan, but at the end of the day, you fought by yourself. We fought together.
I see that. I can tell you now that one-on-one I could have beat any of you, but together you certainly are a force to be reckoned with. Oh,
How do you think we've been managing fighting amber demons all this time?
Don't know. Ribs complaining. Oh.
Mika, you're out of mana. Thank you.
I got it.
Alistair.
I got it. Don't you worry, I'm got it. The hero is here. And the fucker. I have to retype that. Ah! Stop giving me question marks. Give me the slash, you bitch.
You were certainly trigger happy with all those spells, Mika.
I was just trying to help.
Indeed.
You did help.
He kind of stumbles over and slumps against knee, though.
Kind of tapped, though.
We'll get some rest after this. Yeah.
You definitely should.
There you go, walk it.
So, Vorn sort of helps Kellyan sit up.
Actually, sorry, Kellyan, I mean.
Oh, you're going to be all right. I will live. I will live. He then looks up at the rest of you. A deal is a deal. You may search my home for anything you think might help you find Chakal. Though I won't tell you where he is myself. You have earned the right to that search.
I'm sure we can figure out things. We made it this far.
All right.
In the meanwhile, here's a little bit of heal. Get you back up. Warning.
You cast Kier, and he nods appreciatively, even though that's, you all see his health bar, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That doesn't do a whole lot for him just now.
Well, it keeps him from dying, at least.
Excuse me.
And
that
a big potion.
That was a thing.
So, now that we have a deal, what do you intend to do after we've gotten what we came for and continue on our part of things?
I intend to continue to play this board on my side. But given my condition, it may be quite some time before you have to fear anything from me.
Well, just make sure that you know what you're doing when the time comes. I think you'll know when it is.
Of course.
So,
If you see that man, stay away from him.
Understood.
So, Nate.
Fane, enjoy the show?
I mean, truth be told, I kind of like Kellyan, but that was damn impressive. I see now why you've been causing all of us so much trouble.
Us killing a giant behemoth in the desert didn't kind of put that...
I mean, that was definitely a good tip-off, yeah, but still.
And they did make us some money, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was good.
She then points at Rocket.
You, though, those wings. Holy shit.
Syl's
Yeah.
made a few upgrades, remember?
I suppose so. How is he doing, by the way? I don't think I asked that last time.
Yeah, he's fine.
Flying around in the Stargazer, was thrilled to work on Rocket, and as last we saw, which was a while ago admittedly, but he was just making reports on the giant amber hole.
Kellyan is kind of being helped back to his feet now by Vorn and his maid, and he looks back towards the rest of you. Oh, also, about that, he gestures at Fane. I know now that she's in allegiance with you, so you will need
So what happened?
You will need to act quickly.
On that note, Fane, considering that we need to act quickly for you and your family and make sure this whole thing is put to rest, stick him in charge, yada yada yada, do you want to come with us for the remainder of this, putting Jakar on the ground?
She sort of looks between you all for a bit and then kind of gets this unnervingly sadistic look in her eye, kind of slams one fist into her open palm.
I would love to.
Then welcome aboard.
We can
new
both
friend,
deck
join the
that lizard
cause.
bastard in the jaw.
Alright, so here's what we need to search his house now, find out where Jakar is going, and then we'll rest up our wounds and we'll go there. We'll finish this, and then the Vinaldi is in Kellyan's hands. And I hope you know what you're doing.
Likewise. Now then, if you'll excuse me, these two, he sort of gestures at the people helping him up, need to take me somewhere where I can get my wounds treated.
Rest well. Hopefully when next we meet, we won't be enemies.
That would be the hope.
Alright, guys, let's get to searching. And the best place, I think, to start is his office.
We'll search the entire house. We'll try to leave things relatively tidy for you when we're done.
I'd appreciate it. Heaven knows I'm going to have to spend a small fortune to get the dojo repaired. Ugh, he gestures at the melted slag segment of the wall from Rocket's limit break.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Oh no, that was amazing, but...
It is a very nice dojo. It reminds me of home.
Yeah, she has a tendency to be a little...
Excuse me.
What? I was
Naughty.
going to make a compliment.
Sure you were.
I was gonna say,
I'm not the one who burned half the dojo.
Anyway,
I
You
was
two-
being licked on.
you
bad
two
Rocket,
zip
you
it.
damn.
One at a
You-
time! One at a time!
You three zip it. We have a job to do. Come
I'll
on.
help you next
Well,
time.
I was just doing this along the way as we were searching.
Alright, so, everyone needs to make a scavenge check if you're searching Kellyan's house, starting with
Okay.
his office.
Scavenge.
Mm-hmm.
Haven't done that in a while.
Bad Rocket, you could have destroyed the entire dojo. That was fantastic. You can eat all the sugar greens you want tonight.
While we're searching, can we also zip the place? On the long shot, this place had a Geishel pickle.
I see. Fair enough. Alright. Yeah, I have two for
So,
scavenge.
8, 9, 9.
And mine is 10.
Remember, Almighty DM, you have to roll for both Mika and Thane.
Right.
Yes. Can you beat a 10? Probably.
Yeah, see, here's funny. Yet another NPC that he's gonna have to do, despite him saying that he wasn't really supposed to be doing Mika.
Well, at least this one's a temporary one.
Yeah.
Until
Oh,
without you go.
Yeah, I'll probably just use the stat block I made back for when I was planning for you guys to fight her.
What?
So we were supposed to fight her.
I had her stat block made just in case that's how it went down, and that was the original plan. I was intending for her to be a sympathetic villain that you would still end up fighting. Didn't go that way.
You sneaky
Yeah,
bastard.
screw your plans. We do things our way.
I've noticed. Trust me, I have noticed. Yeah, she counts as a level 3 notorious enemy in terms of her difficulty.
When we're done here, I'll be very interested to hear how things should have gone, quote unquote.
How they should go is how they have gone. How I
Well,
wanted them to go
just
is different.
how you wanted to go and how Thane was meant to work out. I do want to hear about that after this is done.
Going
Our
back
way, or
to
the
business,
highway.
Almighty DM, do we find what we are looking for?
Well, as you all sort of go around, it's actually Fane who winds up finding what you're looking for as you're going through Kellyan's office.
Well, she's...
Her family's on the line, so she's about ready to deal with this quickly, I suppose.
Yep. She's kind of going about it in this sort of almost frantic-ish haze. And after a minute of like sifting through drawers, she pulls out like this big stack of papers, sifts through them for a bit, and then looks at one and holds it up.
Here, this one.
What did it say?
It's all written in kind of fancy talk, but to nail down the specifics, it looks like for the next few days, Chakal's going to be up in the castle.
Oh, well, that's perfect.
Great, a great big massive
Does
building.
it say exactly where in said castle?
Just that he is to be considered the personal guest of the local lord.
Right, so we need to
Well,
infiltrate a castle full of guards working for the local lord, though those guards are most uncertainly in Chakal's pocket, and then we need to reach him, and we need to kill him.
That is the plan.
Let's try, when we do this, let's try and do this without hopefully killing any of these guards, because I imagine most of them are just doing their jobs.
Although, if we have to sneak in, hopefully, Nee, you can find us an easy way in.
Nee does a small bow. I do excel in that area, yes.
Yes, you're a very sneaky elf.
Ah,
Glad
shit.
to have-
Here we go again.
Sneaking into the castle will
That
prove
reference.
easy. Well, sneaking into the castle will prove to be easier said than done.
Well,
There's only
we'll
really
give-
one direct entrance, at least as far as main ways in.
Hmm.
I assume that'd be the front colours gate.
Ooh. But, Fane,
Hmm?
say we had somebody that could fly?
I like where this is going.
All eyes turn to
Go
Rocket.
on.
All eyes turn to Rocket. Fane points.
I thought she couldn't fly.
She
Oh,
can
can
now.
now.
Can
That's
now.
another one of the upgrades Sid made.
Yeah.
Wait, no, Faye knows that she could fly, because remember, that was the whole thing, like, we showed her.
Oh,
Back
right,
in the
right,
desert.
right. Forgot about that. She's like,
They may have a castle, but we have the one thing they don't: a rocket.
Really going to have
So-
to hug that man next time I see him.
So, I've seen it, the castle's over here.
the castle is the big building.
Yes,
Yeah.
alright, what's behind it? Is that just mountains?
That is all just mesas and mountains and stuff, yeah.
I'm just thinking, what if we flew in from behind it rather than from the front
Hmm.
of the
I
wall?
like the sound of that.
If it
So-
helps you guys come up with your plan of attack, feel free to draw on the map.
Hmm.
How do you draw?
I mean,
Do you see the paintbrush icon from
I'm
the
just
far
getting
on
the
the
draw
left?
icon.
Yeah, the
Alright, so-
freehand icon. You can use that to draw.
I mean,
So-
if we're going somewhere about here, if this is all
Right.
like mountains, as you say,
Mountains and mesas. Yep.
So, let's assume
And-
that in character we've grabbed a map of the city, just maybe one we found in here or something.
Yeah.
We just got it on Kevin's desk.
Yeah.
Okay, out of character, what about this area right here? What is it?
this would be easier. with my-
That is part of the Mudhole district. Everything over here is a cave. So what
But
happens?
there appears to be an entrance right there.
Yeah, these here lead up out of the caves into the front gate of the castle. That's the only main entrance. All of this down here, the part that faces the vast majority of the city, that's just sheer wall. There's no gates there.
Okay, so there's the main entrance. So, say if we want to stay as clear from that as possible, make our way up the mountain to, say, this area.
Oh, who did we lose?
We lost
Oh,
darkness.
yeah.
Sorry
So,
for that. I lost sound.
So, yeah.
What happened?
oh, we're just continuing the dog. So if we leave the city, we can make our way around and up until the mountains where we can make camp just until we're rested up and feeling ready to go, Rocket can fly us in 1 or 2 at a time, however
Yeah,
many
so
she,
I was
can
gonna say, you want-
she feels up to carrying, over the wall, into a
Right.
place where they're never going to expect anyone to turn up because it's a wall backed by mountains. They're not going to expect a flying sapient chocobo. I don't think the designers thought of that far ahead. Once we're in, we can start making our way through the castle. Maybe grab someone who might know where Chakal is. Don't kill anyone that's not directly one of the Vinaldi thugs because they're just doing their jobs, going about their lives. They don't deserve that. And once we've got the information where Chakal is, we make our way to him, and we finish this as quickly and efficiently as possible. Once he's gone,
we'll finish it.
once he's
I was
gone,
thinking,
And what do
you'll
we
be-
do if Murasan is there?
If
No,
Murasan
shit.
is there, I doubt it, but if Murasan is there, then we're shit out of luck.
I mean,
We withdraw, because
I mean-
that's not something we can take right now.
from everybody we've talked to, nobody's seen him here, and I don't really see any reason for him to be here, so...
Hopefully, whatever Murasan intended to do with the Vinaldi died with Devia Corp and that little deal of theirs.
Quite.
Still,
I don't know.
once Chakal is gone, Thanatos, your business here will be done. Hopefully that pleases that master of yours. But then we can return to Kellyan. Inform him
And
the deed is
hope-
done. He's no longer honor bound to oppose us, and we can sort this bloody city out as best we can. And then, well, then we can finally hear what Mika's ideas are about going to see Bahamut. So, any objections?
Sounds like a good plan to me. As good as we can get on short
Sounds
notice,
good.
at least.
Oh, we should rest first.
Of course.
Well,
I mean,
That's the idea.
that was
mean,
part of
we're
the
gonna-
plan, making a camp up in the mountains.
Yeah.
Like outside, away from danger, and ready to go the next morning.
I mean, of course, we need to depend on how high it is, because I was thinking there if you could see all that. But it depends on how high the castle is.
Well, how high the castle is irrelevant because we have a flying chocobo. That's the point.
Yeah.
Still a strain, but okay.
I mean, yeah, Rocket can get us up into the mountains. We rest. We come back. She gets us all into the castle. We find Chakal as quickly and quietly as possible, and then we kill him probably very gruesomely.
Yep.
And
Which I think not Mika. I think Nee would be the first one to go over first, and she can scout ahead, being the most stealthy, and let us know.
I thought exactly.
Yes, the stealthy elf can do what she does best.
Fane
The
lifts a
stealthy
hand.
elf.
Yeah, let's see. Fane kind of lifts a hand to insert herself into the conversation.
Yes.
Alright, so you've all got yourself a get-in plan. It's getting out that's going to be a bit more tricky.
Indeed.
How long does Rocket's flying last again?
She can
5
fly
hours?
cumulatively 5 hours, but she can only carry one person at a time.
Oh yeah. So if we can do it within 5 hours, Sid's upgrades will still be kicking enough for her to make the trip back out. If we can't make the trip back out the way we came, then we'll have to move out the front, but that will involve either convincing the Lord to stand down due to the fact that the guy holding a knife to his neck this whole time is gone and he doesn't need to shit himself anymore.
Not
Or
to mention,
failing that, running.
yeah.
Right,
We
but
could-
I mean, that's why.
Yeah, but the reason I'm bringing it up would be such a problem is...
And she sort of points out to a variety of spots. I'll mark them in red circles.
All
These
along
things.
here, all along these walls, there are hidden chambers where archers tend to reside in the event of a siege. It's how they
Yeah.
ensure the castle is well defended, by forcing troops to have to go through the Mudhole district instead of any entrance in front of the city proper, and with a lot of archers and various siege equipment scattered throughout. These can also be used in the event of intruders in the castle trying to make a getaway, so we definitely want to go with your plan of just getting out quietly, because if that turns into a bloodbath, we're going to be assailed on all sides on the way out by a lot of angry archers.
Then we'll be
Wow.
on a time limit. Once Rocket activates Sid's upgrades and gets us in, we'll have 5 hours to find him and get out.
I quickly need to correct. The way Rocket's upgrade works is it only subtracts from her timer for a day while she's actually in the air. So it's not
we'll be able
like
to get out easy.
yeah. So yeah, that's not quite how that works.
Yeah.
Well, for drama's sake, we're saying it. It'll be fine.
Alright.
Wow. A whole crap ton of archers. Why does that sound so familiar?
I wouldn't know, but I assume you've had history.
As long as we're
Yeah.
efficient and
Come
quick
on.
and keep to the plan, we can get out the way we came in. But, you know what they say about plans and meeting the enemy.
Quite.
Don't I know it?
So, we should all. It'll work out.
It'll work. And once we do, Thane, you won't be beholden to anymore, and Kellyan certainly will have no reason to go after your family. They'll be free.
Here's to hoping.
Here's to hoping. We'll also make it done and his role is secure that if he proves to be no better, despite all evidence to the contrary, we'll be back. After that display, I already think he knows well enough to leave well enough alone on that.
Indeed.
Mika sort of pipes up.
Alright, so, we heading out? We don't exactly have a lot of time to waste here.
Indeed.
Yep.
Alright, let's go. Make our way into the mountain. What time is it now?
At present, I'd say it's late afternoon, getting on towards evening.
Alright, let's get out of here. We'll spend the rest of the day as long as it takes getting up to the mountains, and we'll take as much rest as we can get before the crack of dawn. Then we'll activate this plan. All
Indeed.
good with that?
Sounds
Yep.
like a plan.
Agreed.
Be better than Rocket flying us up the mountain. She needs a rest too. We need to be fresh and ready for this.
Alright.
All right. So
Let's go.
what direction are you all going to try and ascend the mountain? Are you exiting the city, or are you just finding a quiet spot? What are you doing?
Well, the mountainside around the city, like all around here, is that just like a sheer cliff?
A sheer cliff with varying plateau platforms scattered throughout.
From what about around the
Yeah,
outer
which
edges around here from like when we were coming in before? What did that look like?
Pretty much all of this is sheer cliffs or steep slopes.
Is there any way for us to get up into like
basically gets a way
like,
to go around
this
where
area?
we're not going to get spotted.
Like
What's the best way?
what push comes to shove, we can have Rocket fly us up there because it's 5 hours a day, and then we're doing this tomorrow, which will be the next day.
Well, that's a field resort, but yeah, pretty
Indeed.
much.
so? Almighty DM.
There
What's
are a bunch of platforms Rocket could feasibly land on that I'll kind of draw in here from a flying perspective. But like actually climbing up to those would require some pretty gnarly athletics checks.
Flying
Let's
is
say we
the
try
best
for this
option
one
then.
here.
Okay, Rocket can just take turns and fly us.
Okay.
Alright, so let's say... So those are the platforms, right? Those little white bits you just put in.
Those little white bits are the platforms, yes.
Alright, so let's... So from here, I'm going to draw our route. Say we exit, and sticking to alleyways and stay outside as much as possible, we kind of make our way down. Let's have a look. Up to maybe about here, like right at this little corner of the cliffside, and from that point we have Rocket fly us up to this point, which is relatively close, and kind of rest and keep an eye on things. That one up there. We can make our rest for the night, and in the morning we can head straight into the castle and conduct our infiltration.
So, are we continuing, or is this a good place to leave it?
There's one more thing I want to do before we end the session, so we're continuing for the little bit.
Okay.
Okay.
That's a good place to end. Will probably be on the side of that mountain when we're there.
Yeah, just say that we're already there on this mountain making camp.
So you might as well do your thing now if you wish.
So you make your way through. It's a relatively painless process. And before long, Rocket takes you all up one at a time onto the platforms, and you steadily make your way along until finally you are on the designated platform looking down on the city, just as the sun has gone below the horizon.
I
Okay.
truly like flying.
Hey, Rocket, who's the heaviest of us?
Probably you.
Yes.
Why me? Alfred's got
because-
the shield and heavy.
Hey, you're the heavy armor guy. I'm the mid armor.
Yeah.
Therefore, you're the heaviest.
All right.
I'm
So,
always going mid.
all right. So you're setting up a camp to rest up.
Yep.
All right. So then,
How's Kaya's going to come onto the scene then and talk to Thanatos one last time before the final battle?
Oh, that's a thing.
well,
Yeah, I
anyways,
feel like that's where this is going.
well, anyways,
So why don't you
so
join us.
okay, so
What
anyways,
did you think?
everyone's kind of
Shush.
hunkering down. We'll say me and Meek are keeping watch for the time being. And as you're all sort of nestling down to sleep, Thanatos, you find yourself dreaming.
Damn it.
As you open up your eyes, you suddenly find that you're no longer on the platform overlooking Kurzatan that you were in before. You're in the middle of a vast, endless brown wasteland. A storm of dust raging by you, the sky overhead dark and empty.
What the hell?
Look around for a bit. And then, up ahead, the ground suddenly breaks. And you see a spire of amber starting to rise up from the ground.
Oh dear.
Or is this a Diabolos dream?
Alright. Hush.
This would be the time for everyone except for Thanatos to go mute so we can have this.
Oh, I thought I'd meet myself, woman.
Alright, so. After a bit, the amber crystal grows out into like a giant-ass tree. It pulses for a sec. You have to shield your eyes from the light. And when it fades and you lower your hands, you see a tall, black-skinned creature with red muscles showing through, glaring back at you with glowing orange eyes, and its mouth stretched open into a perpetual razor-sharp grin. Enormous leathery wings fan out behind it.
What the absolute hell?
It steps down from the tree and lands a little ways ahead of you in this sort of low stance. It's tall, like 20 feet tall. And it looks at you again. Its grin widens. Hello, Talion.
Well. No, this is unexpected.
As are you. It rises to its full height, dwarfing you in stature.
Do you have to be so tall? This is hurting my neck.
You all have some smart-ass quips to make, don't you?
Part of my charm.
You know who I am, then?
Judging by the appearance, quite ugly, and this feeling of evil that's making my skin crawl, I'm going to take a shot in the dark and say Diabolos.
You would be correct. Diabolos takes a few steps forwards and actually, with like a shimmer of amber light, shrinks down to be closer to your eye level.
Oh, thank you. That's so much better.
You fascinate me.
Do I?
You do. Out of all of your fellows, you use the very powers I preside over. Yet you use them for the opposite of what I stand for. It is bewildering, but so interesting to observe. I feel there is much I could learn from one like you.
Well, the feeling isn't mutual.
Ah, you're allowed to be wrong. There's no shame in it.
He steps back a little bit.
Tell me, do you know what darkness is?
I know it well enough.
Enlighten me then.
Everything in this world has light and dark. It's a balance.
Perhaps. A very delicate balance.
Yes, though creatures like you tend to want to break that balance.
He lifts up a hand and you see a little pearl of light appear in his palm.
Would you like to know the truth behind darkness?
I don't know what truth you'll have to share, but I don't think I want it.
He gives you a sidelong glance, then sort of lets the light in his palm lift up brighter.
Chaos and order are synonymous with light and darkness, as is your mortal kind's free will. Your very ability to make decisions for yourself is a manifestation of my darkness. As for light, it is an intruder. It invaded long before you were ever conceived.
He sort of lifts up his hand again and the light that he had conjured starts growing brighter and brighter.
Tell me, Thanatos, have too much order or too much chaos, what do you get?
Destruction. Imbalance.
In a sense.
He then reaches down and kind of scoops up some of the dirt in his hand, and when he holds it back up, it starts like twitching and changing shape erratically. And he sort of looks at it with this almost loving look.
Darkness permits infinite flexibility. The laws that bind the world cease to be so rigid, such as the home I was born into.
He lifts his eyes to look at you again.
But then, there was light when Seraph entered the stage.
He lifts his hand and the bright light suddenly becomes all but blinding. You shield your eyes for a second, and when it fades, what you're looking at is a similar scene, except instead of brown ground and an empty dark sky, it's perfectly pristine and white in all directions, not a single instance of stirring wind. It's perfectly still and silent and static.
Too much light, however, and nothing can change. Nothing will alter. No, there will be too many rules, too many restrictions. All must be identical, or it cannot exist.
He then lowers his hand and points it at you.
And that is why you baffle me. You use your power of darkness, my power over chaos, to try and sow order where you go, to destroy altering elements, to restore some semblance of a status quo. It is bewildering, fascinating, and infuriating.
Well, it's nice to know I piss you off. I tend to do that to people.
He snorts your irritation.
Glad to see you're completely missing the point.
The image before you flickers and you're no longer standing in that pristine, samey landscape. And instead you're standing in it appears to be this, like, it's a majestic mountain range reaching with, like, pillars and sheer cliffs that reach all the way into the heavens and all the way down, like, as far as the eye can see, just pillars of stone covered in a wide range of all sorts of fascinating and abstract vegetation and life all over the place. We're talking like gigantic mushrooms with arms and just all kinds of weird shit that it's hard to put into words right now. Diabolos looks around at it all for a second.
You use my very own power to deny me my home.
Thanatos is a little lost for words at this. Doesn't quite know what to say. I was taught.
Go ahead.
I was taught to use this power to help me with my own goals.
And so far your own goals have clashed with mine at every turn, and you fervently believe in the purpose that you and your comrade share. I've seen it clearly enough, even if your methods are what they would not approve of.
He kind of reacts just very slightly, like a twitch, and his fist clenches. I admit my methods in this city may have not have been up to my friend's moral standards. I would say it's just a part of the package of this power.
Mayhap it is. But regardless,
He turns to face you directly again.
you stand in opposition to me, yet it need not be so. You see now,
He gestures at the majestic landscape around you.
what the world could be if the limitations of your light and order were to be lifted. Free to be shaped into anything anyone walking it could possibly want.
Or what you want.
Do you think I was alone in crafting this? Hardly. In truth, the landscape you see before you was never even touched by my hands. This was created by Bahamut and Ramu. But as much as I have come to despise them in their treachery, I can admire the beauty in their previous work. Before Seraph tainted their ideals, everything we stood for.
You really hate this Seraph, don't you?
I devoured him.
Well, that's a bit excessive, isn't it?
He took our perfect world and shackled it. I was striving to protect that which I care about, restore my lost home. In that sense, you and I are not so different. When I learned I could not restore what I had lost, I sought to avenge it, much like you and your family.
Yet I didn't go after innocent people. Murasu, Deviacorp, whether they may have not been innocent enough, they didn't deserve what Murasan did.
Well, you're free to tell yourself that. But you are all of you Seraph's progeny. And your continued corruption of my home cannot be suffered. Now then.
He lifts his wings and lifts himself higher up into the air.
With that in mind, I have a mind to figure out just what it is that makes you tick.
He then coils like a spring and charges towards you, growing back to his full size. But just before he can reach you, there's suddenly a flash of purpley light, followed by, "That's enough!"
What?
The environment around you twitches and you're back in the brown wasteland. And when your vision refocuses, you actually see Caius standing in front of you. Great sword in hand. Glaring back toward a now confused-looking Diabolos.
Master?
Caius glances back at you, and then glares at Diabolos. "This mind is not yours, Shade." He lifts up his blade and it starts glowing with dark energy. "Be gone from here!" Diabolos roars in rage and charges forward. Caius leaps at him. They clash and there's a blast of wind, and you're thrown back off your feet. You go flying back several feet before crashing into the ground a dozen yards away.
Ow.
You turn to look again and you see that they're actually fighting each other, though it looks like Caius is actually kind of getting his ass kicked. Let's see here. And then after a second, Caius gets knocked back and he lands next to you, breathing heavily and covered in blood.
Master.
You need to wake up, Thanatos.
He
I
lifts
can
up.
help.
Not with this.
He then lifts up his greatsword, slices it across the sky overhead, and a big rift just tears open in reality through which you can only see darkness beyond. And it's directly over your heads. He turns back to look at you.
Wake up. You still have work to do.
Lifts up a hand, clenches it into a fist, and you see rain, black rain starting to come out of the tear in the sky. You saying anything?
I don't know what else. I don't know what else to say.
He then brings his fist down as if he's yanking hard on a chain, and like a flood, the darkness starts pouring down. You hear Diabolos letting out an irritated shout before the rain falls on you. For a second, it hurts like hell, and then you snap awake in your party's camp, shooting upright and covered in a cold sweat.
Thanatos?
What? Oh, yeah, attack. Oh, shit.
Bad dream there, buddy?
A little bit more than that, Nee.
Let me guess.
Blaine?
Was it him?
Rocket? You were right. He is an ugly motherfucker.
Diabolos.
You can unmute yourself now, Lumna.
Oh, sorry, I forgot I was muted. So
was
you
it?
met him, I see.
Yeah. He's quite something.
Well, they
I
tell
added
you
something.
try to show you bad things, make you give up like you did Rocket.
Mm-hmm.
No, actually, I think he was trying to tell me something. He was telling me how my darkness is from him and I'm using it against his wishes.
He is the god of darkness, but it's your magic at this point. I don't really care how he feels about it, to be honest.
And then he went on about how this seraph took everything that he worked for and corrupted everything.
Seraph. Mika, do you know that name?
Seraph is one of the dead gods. According to what little the others deigned to share with us, he's actually the progenitor to the mortal races. Like, he worked with Alexander to build the blueprints for what would become us.
Well, did they ever say how he died?
We can only assume he was killed by Diabolos. He was he was the god
devoured.
of... Devoured?
That's what he said.
Lovely.
Well, Seraph was the god of light and order, so it makes sense that he and Diabolos would be in opposition.
He mentioned Bahamut too.
What all did he tell you?
That Bahamut and Ramu helped him shape so much of our world, and Seraph corrupted them and everything they were striving to do, and he says that Seraph stole his home from him.
By creating us?
And when he couldn't restore it, he said he wanted to avenge it.
Well,
He said, in a sense, that's no different than what I did.
there is a difference. You have a wobble. But you're here, aren't you? You helped us with Kellyan. If things go well, the people of the city might have something to look forward to after Chakal's gone. Diabolos, I can't say to know exactly what his deal is, what's going through a godly mind of his. But, I mean, if he lost something, then committing mass genocide isn't exactly a justified answer to it.
Nope. Two
And that
wrongs
was-
do not make a right.
And that wasn't all.
Hmm?
He
What else?
was going to attack me, and then Master showed up.
Oh?
I don't know how, but he was there, and he fought him off, at least for a while.
How?
I don't know.
I
It was-
lost myself.
It was pretty badass, but it looked like for the most part that he was just trying. It was too much, and he told me I just wanted to wake up. I wanted to help, but he said that I couldn't, and just I needed to wake up.
Did he get out too?
I don't know. Something hit me, and then I woke up.
He places a hand on his shoulder. I'm sure he's fine. I don't like the man, but I know he means a lot to you.
And what you told us, he's a tough bastard. I'm sure he'll be fine.
And knows when to not keep fighting when the person he's fighting for has already pissed off.
Maybe.
So you mentioned he had walls before this. You writing this down, Mika? This is god law.
Mika has got like a notebook out and is sketching it all then.
Oh yeah, I'm taking notes.
Hey, you can come famous off of this.
We're already kind of famous, aren't we?
Famouser?
Is that even a word?
It is now. Anyway, you were saying.
Oh dear.
I mean, from what it sounded like, he has it in his head that Seraph stole everything that he worked on and corrupted everything. He said...
I asked him a minute ago, does he mean by that us? Like, if Seraph supposedly created us? Or led to our being?
Well, I mean, from what Mika said, he helped create all of the mortal races, didn't he?
At least all of the ones on this continent.
So Diablo sees all of us as invaders of his home.
So he had something all to himself, then we came along and he has a chip on his shoulder because he doesn't like sharing. Noted.
He also kept talking on about the balance between light and dark, and if you have too much of one, it's not good, which with that part of him I agree. The balance is important.
All due respect at that point, isn't he trying to delve the world into darkness?
Well, yeah, but...
Mika sort of
Bit of a
lifts up her
hypocrite.
quill for a second, says,
If I'm understanding what you're reciting to us properly, it sounds to me like the world started in nothing but darkness,
Well,
which would then imply that the light came later, which would mean that the world could totally exist in just a state of darkness without needing light.
yeah, but what kind of world is that? Just him sitting alone, all content and snuggled. The rest of us is doomed to die.
she points at Thanatos with the bottom of her quill.
You mentioned that he showed you a really beautiful landscape, right?
Yeah.
It's possible that's what he was referring to. Describe it to me, in detail. Spare nothing.
Oh, Jesus. I guess I just recite what he told me.
Yeah, we can say you regale her with the details, and she's taking extensive notes the whole time and nodding along.
Okay. So from everything you've said, if I've got this down right, he implied that darkness and chaos are one and the same, and chaos is more or less just a lack of order, a lack of rules, which would imply that that beautiful landscape he showed you could only exist in a world of pure darkness. When, because the laws of physics wouldn't be as defined. He picked up...
Do we know... Did any life aside from the gods actually even exist back then?
No, none of the mortal races came into being until, well, after, As far as I'm aware, the blueprints for the mortal races were only made shortly before Seraph and Alexander died. We didn't come into being properly until, well, after that battle was concluded.
Well, from the sounds of it, before the light, there's not just him around, but more.
Yeah,
of
it
his
sounds
kind.
like all of the gods were together before Seraph showed up. And it seems like they lived in that chaotic world together.
Oh, being godlike beings with powers that far exceed anything else we could possibly imagine. I suppose a world like that would make sense. And the other gods moved on. They decided to create light and order to bring life, like a world that we could exist in, that we could perceive. But I guess Diabolos didn't like that. He wanted just things to stay the same. Which is kind of ironic if you think about it. He's against order, yet he didn't want things to change. There is an irony there.
There is. He
Indeed.
didn't want to be bound by shackles, I think is what it amounts to.
But at the end of the day, one thing he did get right is... too much darkness, it might go back to that, but I don't think we'd come for the ride unscathed. Too much light, maybe we would just stop dead, so you always need... thinking back home, and the reason rangers exist is because it's like dangerous wildlife things. I wouldn't have my aspirations and my career goals if those things didn't exist. So, I mean, getting weirdly philosophical and making my head hurt. But he's not wrong. Light and darkness do need to exist together, but I mean, he wants to bring things back into darkness, which would kill us.
And many others.
I suppose I could feel a little sorry for him that he lost his world, but that's diminished by the fact that, again, genocide.
He's
Not
going
so-
about it the wrong way.
And in the end, for new life, old life must end. Just retain the balance.
Think what we're doing here. You're getting your revenge, like he wants. But with what? We're doing it in a way where we've gone to great lengths to make sure that the people that exist now continue and will thrive. His goal for revenge, he doesn't care who dies along the way. We're all gnats, pawns. You saw that in Marasi with the Amber, what he was doing to people. Over in Deviacorp, once they were done with it, boom!
Yep.
The difference is... I know this has been tough for you, but at the end of the day, you're selfless. You try to do what's right. He's focused solely on what is beneficial for him and him alone.
Perhaps.
And that is why he will fail in the end.
So, if we're done splitting my head, because this is far more debatey and God-defining than I should ever have to think about, shall we invade a castle and kill a psychopath?
As you're saying that, Fane, who's like kind of keeping an eye on the castle over by the cliff's edge, looks back at you and says,
Yes, please. As fascinating as all that is, it's not why I came up here.
Thanks for your input, Fane.
Forget about the god.
I'll be honest, I'm a science lady. All of this stuff about gods is going right over my head.
Fair enough. Alright, pack your things, collect your weapons. We'll deal with the vengeful, dark, psychopathic god later. For now, we start with a slightly more mortal one.
all right.
And free this land from tyranny once and for all.
And you have all claimed a full rest, we'll say, so you're all back to max HP and MP, and as you're picking your shit together and getting ready to advance on the Kurzatan Castle, that is where we're going to call it for the week. We'll pick it up there next time. So,
I just realized that. Did I just draw unintentionally a fucking angry bird?
well,
Sure.
anyways, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, so much for tuning in to this episode of Final Fantasy Chronicles of Eno. We hope you enjoyed. I know I did. I've been meaning to get to that bit of lore information for a while, and I finally saw a chance to do it. So, we'll see you next time, ladies and gentlemen. Bye-bye.
Sarah.
Bye.
Bye.
Here we
next
go
time,
again.
Next time is going to be fun.
'Cause I